Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health. I'm your host for the evening, Kevin Kopp, and over the next hour, we're going to take you inside the Temple football spring practice season. We're going to hear from the head coach of the Owls, CAREY. We're going to talk to some of Temple's returning players and incoming transfers, and we're going to show you some highlights, including some never-before-seen footage from Temple's 15 spring practices during the 2021 season. We're also going to be joined by College Football Hall of Famer and Temple radio analyst Paul Palmer to help break down the Temple spring season and look ahead to the highly anticipated fall 2021 calendar year as Temple returns to the Link, and more importantly, the fans return to the Link as well. Now, normally this time of year, we might have a spring game where over at Edberg Olson Hall or down at the Temple Sports Complex, we would have you, the fans, come out to get to watch practice. And unfortunately, because of all of the COVID protocols still in place, we were unable to do that this year. But we want to give you an inside look at Temple football practice, and we want to simulate the spring game environment as best we can. So we've also recruited the Temple Diamond Band as well as Temple Spirit Squads, the cheerleaders, and the Diamond Gems dance team. They're going to have some special performances for you throughout the night as well. So all of that is about to get underway, but we're going to begin tonight with some breaking news as Temple announced that MATHIS, a quarterback and a transfer from the University of Georgia, has been named Temple's #1 quarterback coming out of the spring season as we anticipate the start of fall camp in August. And while we're going to hear from the head coach of the Owls, CAREY, in a wide-ranging interview later in the show, let's start with his comments on MATHIS and his play this spring.
Yeah, I saw great improvement from him. Him and I just talked yesterday, and I think his rate of improvement just with comfort with the offense was just astounding in practice 1 to 15. Certainly the physical skills are fantastic, and his ability with his legs and his arm, and then his mind getting that comfort when those things just started to match up. You just saw a really rapid rate of success happen for him, which was positive for us, positive for him. And like I said, he would say this just like I'm going to say this about him. We got a long ways to go, but we got one heck of a start.
Well, there you have it. The starting quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs in the 2020 season opener is your anticipated starting quarterback for the Temple Owls in 2021. Very exciting times ahead for this Temple program. And we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to send it out to Edberg Olson Hall, where I'm going to be joined on the practice field by College Football Hall of Famer Paul Palmer. We've got plenty more ahead on the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health. Don't go anywhere.
Don't let a sports injury sideline you. Temple Health Sports Medicine can help get you back to the activities you love with the confidence you need. Start your road to recovery by making an appointment with a Temple Sports Medicine specialist. Call 800-TEMPLE-MED.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health. I'm Kevin Kopp alongside Hall of Fame running back Paul Palmer. Paul, it's great to see you and see you in person. This is so nice.
Yeah, this is nice. It was nice texting. It was even nice talking to you, but this is even better.
Well, here we are. We're at Edberg Olson Hall. We're on this field where Temple got 15 spring practices in. They got their full complement of spring practices after missing really the entire spring 2020 season because of the COVID pandemic. I'm just wondering, before we dig in, what are your memories of spring ball? Because I think it's easy sometimes for fans to say, okay, you missed the spring season, who cares? You're going to play in the fall, you're going to be fine. But this really is important. There's a lot of work going on that we as fans don't get to see. What do you remember about it from your time?
There's a lot of, with spring ball, there's the opportunity for people to win jobs. You know, there's sometimes where the season starts, and once the season starts, your 11 guys on offense and 11 guys on defense are your guys. Because you don't want to change too much as the season goes. In the spring, it should be wide open, and everybody should get the equal amount of reps, and everyone should get a chance to perform. It's like spring training with baseball and everything else. You need this time, and then also a lot of times there's a lot of moving around. You have some high school kids that could be coming in early. It's an opportunity for you to maybe change your personnel. It's an opportunity to move people around. It's an opportunity to change your assignments and your offense or your defense. So it's really important. It's tough not having spring ball and then coming back in the fall and just playing, because a lot of times people improve in the spring. People get stronger, a lot stronger. People get faster. The light bulbs start turning on. But if they're not getting a chance to show it. And then when the season starts, you got to get ready for the season. And once the season starts, you start getting the guys that are going to be playing the most ready. And you just don't get that with the spring. You just don't get that time to really show what you can do and show that you should be one of those guys that should be starting in the fall.
So let's start, Paul. You hit on a couple different things. There's some things about this team that we know, and there's some things that we don't know. And we're going to start with what we do know. And there are 4 single-digit guys coming back. You know, it always starts at Temple with the single digits, and you've got 4 guys returning. And I think leadership at this point is more valuable now probably than it's ever been, because you've still got COVID protocols to deal with. You've got a team that was shorthanded in a lot of ways last year, that had stops and starts, that really had a tough fall season, that has high expectations for the fall. And so when you look at this group of returning single-digit guys, you got 2 on the defensive side of the ball in AMIR Tyler and Will KWENKEU. You've got 2 on the offensive side of the ball in JADAN Blue and Randle Jones. Tell me about that group, because you've watched them for a lot of years. These are guys coming back, some of them for their 6th year now, that have made the decision to stick around and be leaders for this Temple team.
Well, it's important. You know, I've played on teams where there hasn't been much leadership at the top, seniors or players. You know, sometimes you can be a starter and not necessarily be a leader, and sometimes you can get a guy who's a leader and he's a backup. You know what I mean? But it's important to have them. And with all that has gone on with people coming and people going, especially for the people that are coming. The people that are coming in, they need to have someone there that can let them know, or show them without verbally saying it, but show them this is how we do it here. And it's very important in that respect. As far as, I mean, the fact that we have 2 on each side of the ball is great. Unfortunately, none of our single-digit guys are in the interior line on offense or defense. And that would be a great spot to have someone like that as well. But the fact that we do have 4 that are returning, the fact that it means so much to Temple football, and the fact that, you know, you can look at it and say, well, wow, man, well, like, it'd be great if we had, you know, 8 single-digit guys coming back. Well, you know what, it'd be worse if we only had 3 or 2 or 1. So we're in a pretty good place. We have 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and hopefully they can kind of show people the ropes.
Well, as you said, 2 on offense, 2 on defense, 4 single-digit guys. We talked with them throughout the spring season via Zoom, and we're going to check in with that group right now to talk about what they feel about the spring season and what they're looking forward to when this team takes the field in the fall.
This past year, due to some injuries and things and COVID and protocols, we end up having a lot of young guys on the field, who didn't have, some of them didn't have any, didn't have a spring ball. Some of them were like, literally right out of high school. But having a spring ball now, it's a great opportunity for everyone to just being able to, sharpen their craft, really bond with each other. I think that's also like a really good thing that we didn't have last year, because it was around this time that COVID really happened and everyone went home, didn't really have the chance to go through some type of control adversity. I want to say, but this year is a lot different. We really are trying to maximize this opportunity that we have here, and I think we're doing a good job at it. I love seeing what I'm seeing with the team, and just the difference that it makes to having the spring ball and seeing what the outcome will be in the future compared to like last year.
Basically, I would say that things are going along a lot smoother than I even expected, because Dwan is of course, I'm gonna talk about the elephant in the room. Dwan is a really good quarterback. Like, it's just the fact that he lacked, of course, years and experience and stuff like that. But the kid, he has a great arm. His mind is in the right place, and that's one of the biggest things that I was looking for when I was coming back and figuring out what the situation was going to be with our quarterback. And when I seen that and seen the type of mindset that he had, I knew that the only thing that we could do was go up from there. And then on top of it, the rest of the guys, after lifts and stuff, getting it in, getting extra work in with him. He's a guy that's always willing to go outside and throw. It doesn't matter if he's out there by himself. So guys being able just to build, and then on top of that, he bringing the other quarterbacks along. So the other quarterbacks will come outside and throw and do all the other things. You know what I mean? Because we got a bunch of young guys. We got a young group. Everybody knows that coming into the season. We got young guys in every position. But having him with that mindset of a leader to be able to bring them guys along, and it's myself in the receiver room, we're going to have a really good team, a really good group. And I promise you ain't going to see nothing but success from us this year.
I know not just me as an older seniors, they seen how that last year ended. And not just to me, but to the alumni and to everybody that's, you know, has associated with Temple. Like, I just didn't want to leave off on that mark. It was my last year. And on top of that, I trusted Coach Carey a lot. Like, I trusted Coach Carey as in, like, I see Coach Carey as family. Like, he's probably been one of the coaches that stood here the most, that has coached me the most. You know, I have been through the most experiences with them, you know, and definitely Coach Young. Coach Young was a strong reason to me coming back. Like, I thought that he could definitely excel my game to that next level. If I wanted to be anywhere, I wanted to be anywhere he was at.
We put in the work in the off season. You know, we got new guys. DeJuan Mathis, he's a new guy, so we connected in the off season. It's paying off. It's showing in spring. So, you know, it's a very good relationship. I got a good relationship with all the quarterbacks. The receivers had good relationships with everybody. We're all close-knit. All close-knit group, you know, and that's what you need if you want to succeed in the season, you know. So just coming together each and every day in practice, just competing and getting better, you know, that's the goal.
We have the right people that we want to be here. Everyone is choosing to be on the team, and everyone is healthy competition, a lot of confidence, no cockiness, no entitlement. Like, you know, just the environment is incredible. Practice is intense, focusing on developing, you know, the physical strength, emotional, as well as mental. Like, you know, it's just exciting. Like, it's incredible. It's a good environment to be around. So, you know, definitely thankful to have the opportunity to be, you know, part of a team like this.
Are they going to see the defense flying around? We got them young guys. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all got to watch out for them. We got young guys, but they gonna fly around. They put their body on the line. They listen. You're gonna see a bunch of young guys flying around. And on top of it, on offense, nothing but execution. Finishing in the end zone, finishing in the red zone, everything that we doing. I promise you that you're going to see nothing but execution on behalf of the offense and nothing but hard work. That just shows, and it's going to carry over to the defense. It's going to be a great situation. And, of course, on special teams, we've always been known to be a team that has a great special teams unit.
I definitely feel like, I don't want to say that we're going to feel like the old Temple. I'd rather say, like, I think it's like a new generation of Temple. We want to show them something new. We want to show them something way better than last year. We want to set a standard and just set the mark of the link and set the mark of Temple football. Like, you know, leaving off last year, that definitely didn't help us with the fans and our community, the conference, you know, but it is what it is. So I definitely say there's a lot of improvement on the coaching aspect and the players aspect as well. I just want them to know that we coming. We're really coming. And we're not just saying this to say it. Like, we really coming to play. Like, we're not just here going through the motions. Like, we're actually, like, taking it day by day and getting ready for game one.
Not having fans on in the link as much as we wanted was, you know, it played a big role in, like, you know, having that juice in the stadium, you know. So I hope we get to have them back this upcoming season in the link, you know, to give us that extra boost. But I want them to see that we're Temple tough. We keep that tradition going, and we're going to win a championship this year.
Welcome back here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health. I'm Kevin Kopp alongside Paul Palmer. Paul, let's start with something you know a little bit about, the offensive side of the ball. And, you know, again, it's tough to look back at last year and really say it has much of an effect moving forward because, I mean, this is a team turning over a lot of its roster. There are incoming guys, and a lot of them coming with Power 5 experience, coming in as mid-year transfers from Power 5 programs. Of course, at quarterback, DeJuan Mathis out of Georgia, but you've also got two Power 5 running backs in Rayvon Bonner and Iverson Clement out of Illinois and Florida, respectively. You've got Ahmad Anderson out of Purdue. So, I mean, these are big-time programs and big-time guys coming in, and I think that we could be looking in the fall at a very different Temple offense than what we saw in the fall of 2020.
Sure, and it sounds like it could be very explosive. It's good to know that along with the talent we already have at those positions, we have new talent on the edges in the backfield and what have you. The real key, man, the real key, and I've always said, I said it when I played and I said it for most of my games, is what we do up front. You know, this this spring practice, you know, we spoke about that. This spring practice is important because this is the first opportunity that these new guys are getting with one another. And the first chance, they're getting a chance to get a feel for who they're going to be playing with. So this is really important for the offense. And a lot of times in the spring, it's a lot harder for the offense also in the spring. As an example, I mean, in order to gain 5 yards, to get a 10-yard catch, you need at least 8 people doing the correct thing. On defense, if one guy makes a play, the whole defense looks great. You know what I mean? So it's tough, and I know this from myself. The earlier part of spring would always be tough, but as it went on, we would kind of catch up and we would kind of do our thing. But it's tough, man. It's tough with all these new pieces coming in. Regardless of where they're from, they have to mesh. And also, the kids we have are tough kids. No one's going to lay down because you came here and because you came from someplace and give you their damn job. You know what I mean? No one's going to say, oh, well, he's from so-and-so and he's better than me. And this is something else I learned. When I played postseason games, the Blue-Gray game, the Hula Bowl, I want to say at the Hula Bowl, I had a lineman from Alabama, maybe a guy from Georgia, maybe a Penn State lineman. And I didn't think they were much better than the lineman I just played with at Temple. I really didn't. You know what I mean? So it's great that they're coming from where they're coming from, but we do a pretty good job of playing football here. So if they want to play, if they want to survive, they're going to have to fight like hell because that's how we do here at Temple. We're going to fight. We're going to fight each other if we have to until we straighten it all out, but we're sure as hell going to fight you if you're not one of us. So there's going to be a fight. And once they prove that they can handle it and they're willing to fight, then they're going to fit in just great.
Well, and you got to figure, you know, coming in as a quarterback or a running back or whatever, when you have talent on the outsides like Jaden Blue and Randall Jones and those guys coming back for 6 years. These guys have been here since 2016. Yes. They have been here through ups, downs, everything else that you can imagine in this program. I mean, what a luxury to come in and have those pieces already in place.
They've seen everything, and they'll be reliable. It's good to know, like, you're a new quarterback, and you know that guy's reliable. He knows the offense. He knows where to be. You know that you just got to get it close enough to him, and he's going to make you look good. You know, like a lot of times quarterbacks get so much flack for like the ball being incomplete. You know, well, he's not always going to throw a perfect pass. You need guys that you can depend on if I put it in his area and I put it near him, that he's going to come up with the ball and make me look good, you know? And that's what you have with those 2 guys outside. Once we see what we have in the backfield and we can set up some type of running game, it's going to open things up outside. And that quarterback will get a chance to relax a little more. And he's not going to get the happy feet and start running around when he can just sit there and throw it to guys he can depend on.
Well, let's get to know a couple of our incoming offensive transfers a little bit better. Let's catch up with quarterback DeJuan Mathis and wide receiver Ahmad Anderson Jr.
It was probably the coaching staff. I got like the family feel from here because I talked to a lot of schools, you know, in the portal. A lot of schools are going to talk to you and they're going to ask you a lot of questions and stuff like that. But it was me being able to talk to the coaches any time of the day. It didn't matter. Like, I could call Coach Carey anytime, and he will always be there to answer. Like, and it's still the same way now that I'm here.
Well, it's definitely a lot of energy and a lot of competitiveness in that room. And I feel like when you have that in the room, let alone, you know, like guys who like Randall and Blue, who, you know, are big time playmakers. When you have that type of, you know, characteristic in your game, you know, it spreads. That's kind of contagious. So, you know, me bringing that too as well, it's like, you know, it just, a lot of the guys, you know, love football, and a lot of guys, you know, come here every day to work. So when you get that out of guys too as well, it's like, you know, it's a real fun group of guys to be around, and then fun to be able to play football with a bunch of group of guys who are competitive.
I know one thing's for sure, you can't build a relationship just in a couple of days. Like, you got to earn guys' respect. And that's probably the biggest thing that I'm trying to do, not being vocal, not trying to be vocal earning guys' respect, but earning guys' respect with results. Like, when we step on the field, I want to be able to execute and not let those guys down at the end of the day, because I know that before I can say anything, I have to prove it first. So I probably just try to stay on the field and prove to everybody that I can do what I was brought here to do. I hope that fans say that we're a disciplined team. We play until the end of the whistle, and we execute and we give everything that we got each and every play. We don't leave anything on the field. Like, no matter what, I feel like if we all execute and work hard at the end of the day, the wins and losses will take care of themselves. But if we don't know our responsibilities and stuff like that, then who knows what we'll be able to do at the end of the day.
I just want them to be just as excited as us, because like I said, we come in that facility, we come to practice, we give it all we got through the season, all year round. I just want them to, come out there excited, and we'll do our job best by giving them the show and the entertainment that they need to see.
Welcome back here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase. I am Kevin Kopp alongside Paul Palmer. Paul, let's flip it around now and talk about the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, you've been saying this all show so far. It begins in the trenches, and I think this is one of the areas where there are a lot of question marks for Temple. Obviously, the transfer portal works in mysterious ways, right? Some guys go out, some guys come in. There's a lot of incoming talent in the line, and I think this is one of those areas where in a lot of ways, we're going to have to see kind of what is out on the field in the fall, but I think there's reason to be excited. You've got two guys transferring in on the D-line from UNC. You've got Will Rogers coming in from Washington State. Again, same thing, Power 5 experience, right? But, those battles in the trenches in the spring, I'm sure are very clarifying, and we're going to see, the hallmark of this Temple program is its defense, and we're going to see what they look like here in the fall shortly.
Sure, and hopefully, we spoke of single digits. Hopefully we'll get a couple single digits from the spring or from the fall that end up on the defensive line. We've been, for years now, Temple football has done an incredible job in the trenches on defense. We've had some really great defensive tackles. We've had some great defensive ends, outside linebackers coming off the edge, and hopefully they see that. Hopefully they know what they're getting themselves into. And hopefully they know the expectation of when you come here to play defensive line or what have you. We've had some great ones. We have guys right now that are in the league and doing great things. Very sought after free agents in the NFL that were here for 4 or 5 years. So they're pretty big shoes to fill. And it's not going to be easy because there's guys that are here, as I said. No one's going to give we don't give anybody anything in Philly. I mean, you know that. Even when you do well, you got to watch your step because tomorrow or the next day, they might be ripping your legs out for some mistake that you make. So it seems like it's never enough. It's always, once you get here, you got to stay here. You got to be consistent and you got to make it happen. But from everything that I've read and from what it seems like they're going to be good for us. They chose to come here. They weren't. It's not like pro football where you get traded and you get stuck at some place that you don't want to be. They chose to be here, and I'm sure they had other options, places they could have gone, but they chose to be here, so that's good for us.
And as we talk about some of those big returning names, guys that we've already heard from, right, you're two single digits on the defensive side of the ball, AMIR Tyler and Will KWENKEU. And I mean, a couple years ago, if you remember, Temple had so much depth at linebacker. Speaking of guys now playing in the league, you got a bunch of those guys that have moved on and are playing in the NFL. Will KWENKEU was basically a healthy scratch, right? He couldn't crack into that top three. And now, fast forward a couple years, and I mean, he's going to be the anchor for Temple in the middle of that defense, playing an incredibly important position.
So, well, that's great for us. Because I always thought that KWENKEU was a very good linebacker. He played behind some very good guys, but when he got in, he showed that, like, oh, he's as good, but like timing sometimes you can be as good, but timing will put you in a situation where you just have to wait your turn. It's great that you have a guy in the middle who's as experienced as he is, who can see everything and put people in the right places. You're going to have defensive linemen that are new to this defense. Well, it's good to have someone behind you that can slap you on your rump and put you in the right location. You know what I mean? And that's the guy, and I think it's just good for us. It's good for us to have a guy who knows. And then in the secondary, it's good to have a guy coming back who can do the same thing, who can stand back there, who's seen it all, who knows the defense, knows what the coach expects, and he can put everybody in the right places as well. It's tough being a defensive lineman, being a great defensive lineman, and trying to get the other defensive linemen in the right places. You know what I mean? You need to be able to put your defensive linemen in the right places by linebackers. And you have a guy in the middle at the second level, and you have a guy in the middle and the back that can put people in the right places so they know exactly where we need to be to play ball like we need to play.
All right, well, let's get to meet some of our incoming defensive transfers. We caught up with Will Rogers III, coming across the country from Washington State, and KEYSHAWN Paul, who you may remember played at UConn, played against Temple, now playing for the Owls in the secondary this season.
I thought Temple, I just thought I thought people like B-Mac, Randall Jones do like fast. People that could beat people like Sean Bradley. Like I just seen some wolves out there. Like I thought people that was hustling for the ball, like hustling in the league. So that's the same thing I see right now. So I already knew I was coming to.
Everything I thought it was and more. Honestly, you know, the city of Philadelphia is great. I've gained so much weight just off of just eat the right way, and all the different food options here is crazy. Food truck every corner I go around. So that's been big. And then another thing with I guess us practicing. We've been practicing, and I've gotten the hang of the defense. It really fits my style of play. And yeah, it's been great on and off the field.
They gonna see me turn the city up. I'm not gonna lie. They about to see me get hyped, turn the city up, make big plays. They gonna see us turn up. So they better be ready, man.
We're gonna be a gritty, nasty defense. I just know that. And as far as the offense, we're gonna be explosive. We're gonna put points on the board. You know what I mean? Take time off the clock, and you know, be great.
The Temple University Diamond Band presents selections chosen by the senior class. We begin with the music of Ed Sheeran from his Grammy-winning album Divide, reminiscing about home and the castle on the hill. One of our most memorable shows featured the music of Lizzo, and this is one of the reasons why. Just blame it on my juice. Our 2018 Panic at the Disco show won a lot of praise, including from Panic members themselves, who remind you that dancing is not a crime. Let it out and let it in as we close with this timeless Beatles classic that spent 9 weeks atop the charts. Try not to sing along with Hey Jude. the pride of the cherry and white, the Temple University Diamond Band.
Don't let a sports injury sideline you. Temple Health Sports Medicine can help get you back to the activities you love with the confidence you need. Start your road to recovery by making an appointment with a Temple Sports Medicine specialist. Call 800-TEMPLE-MED.
Welcome back here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase. Our program tonight is presented by our friends at Temple Health, and representing Temple Health today, we have our very own Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine and an Assistant Professor of Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine at Temple's Lewis Katz School of Medicine, Dr. Ryan Schreiter, joining us on the program. Doc, thanks so much for taking some time to talk today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's jump right into it with the basics. Tell us about your position, what you do, and how it interacts, not just with Temple football, which obviously we're talking about today, but all 19 of Temple sports.
Sure. So I'm hired by the Department of Orthopedics and Sports Medicine at Temple University Health Systems at the hospital right up the street. So 5 days a week, I see patients. It's really what I like to do. It's musculoskeletal medicine. I practice non-operative medicine, so I do a lot of procedures, try to prevent a lot of injury. I always say I like to treat injuries, but I love to prevent them, try to encourage a healthy lifestyle. And then a really cool part of my job is to be involved with Division I student athletes. One, because I think I admire them. I think they're wonderful people on and off the field. They're doing something so unique, and they're doing something so incredible with their bodies, and trying to keep them healthy on the field. So yeah, I'm down here, help cover the games and help keep the student athletes healthy. And we're on the cutting edge of medicine too, just trying to kind of give the athletes the best medicine, imaging, treatments, braces, everything that they can, that we can get in their hands as quickly and as safely as possible. So yeah.
Well, obviously there are so many moving parts there. Let's talk about the different roles and how care is coordinated across all of these areas, and really kind of the broader partnership between Temple Health and those of us on the athletic side here at Temple University.
I remember on my onboarding interview at Temple, when I came, they described the T as open. The symbol of the T is always open-ended, meaning it's very open. I think the athletics department and the relationship with the hospital has that. Takes a lot of people involved. It's very complex. I think it's more like a family, and I think most of us have a little, different families, or maybe complicated families, and there's different personalities, and there's different needs that each student athlete or each person has. What's great is Temple provides that in a big healthcare setting, whether that's trauma. There's a big trauma center. We have relationships with specialists from heart specialists, cardiologists, and surgeons, and dermatologists, and infectious disease. And it's crazy. I'm like, oh, we'll never need this infectious disease guy. And then something pops up that I've never seen before, and it's exciting, and it keeps you, it makes you want to keep thinking, and keeps you up to date with the latest research and all the evidence-based medicine that we practice. So, within the athletes, we typically, we can get them into our department pretty quickly. And then if not, we can, it's something that's kind of out of our scope of practice. We have specialists that are readily available, and they've all been extremely open and willing to help, specifically our student athletes. And obviously I'm biased. I advocate for them, and I'm biased for the student athletes because I know the toll that it takes on them physically and mentally. That being said too, there's a great relationship with mental health services too, to help with the student athletes and whatever injury or whatever issue that revolves not only their mind but their body. And we're here for the athletes, and I feel like my role is to be a point person for a lot of those contacts, to be able to speak with specialists, and then to be able to get the athlete as quickly. And it's certainly not reality in that getting an appointment so quickly. And that's again one of the perks of being a Division I athlete. at Temple, specifically in its relationship with the hospital.
Well, I know for better and worse, this has been a subject that we have discussed at length, but obviously as we're still in the middle of this COVID environment, tell us about how that has affected your work in particular. Obviously, we're talking about the effect it has on Temple football and their spring practice season, but you also have all of Temple sports going through either practice or they're playing competition seasons. How have you and your staff adapted to this COVID world that we're all living in?
First of all, I'm a representative of one of many people. I emphasize evidence-based medicine, but really with what was so unique about COVID is that we've never experienced it, specifically this virus, the coronavirus, within our country, and then again, it's worldwide. And then to try to take it into athletics was even more difficult. And I think I want to give credit to the student athletes too. I admire their flexibility. I know they had to be frustrated. I know the staff were frustrated. And a lot of times I was the one not bringing great news saying, hey, we need to stop, where you can't play. And I think to have that perspective and the support within my colleagues in the department to say, hey, just stick with the medicine, trust the medicine. I think that was the important thing. To follow guidelines was the real, I think, struggle, because our bodies haven't changed for thousands and thousands of years. And so musculoskeletal medicine, I always say, is simple. Like, you hurt your right hand, you can always look at your left to see what the normal one is. We really had no comparison. There was no foundation. There was no, control group with this. So I think as a whole, the country and specifically the medical world, and then even more specific, the sports medicine world, I thought they did the best job that they could in regards to vaccines, in regards to, how do we deal with the treatment. And I do want to kind of compliment Temple Health, specifically even the pulmonary department, and just them being on the front lines of treating a lot of the sickest people in the greater Philadelphia area. But yeah, it was a really long season, and certainly it wasn't a 9-to-5 job at all. Taking phone calls, talking through patients, doing things that were out of my comfort zone was difficult for me personally. But it definitely, it makes you stronger. I see my admiration for these athletes too. I see how they do things, especially going from a freshman to a senior, how good that they are, and doing these drills and seeing them in the weight room and seeing them excel in the classroom. They motivated me too. I'm competitive by nature, and I'm hard on myself. And so I think being around athletes definitely always gives me the juice that I need to just continue to keep going. And I think the colleagues around me too helped big time.
Well, Doc, we'll get you out of here on this. One of the recurring themes that we've been talking about with our players and that we'll hear from Coach CAREY later on in the program is everyone looking forward to the fall season. And I know there's still a lot of time to go until we get there. What does the summer look like for you and for this Temple football team as they get ready for what we hope is a really exciting season of competition this fall at the Link?
This summer, it's a lot of preparing their bodies. When it comes to heat, we do get hot in Philadelphia, so we want to watch humidity and making sure we're protecting the players as they train outside. But yeah, the football players really have no break, and they're taking class too. Like I said, I tip my hat to you guys. Not only strengthening your bodies, but strengthening your minds too. And they don't really get a summer break, and they go right through. They go right through the summer, and before you know it, they have a couple days off, and then it's fall camp or summer camp, and they're going. So yeah, they get this little break for finals, and then they're back at it. And they know, because I think they know somewhere maybe in Florida or somewhere in Cincinnati, there's somebody lifting, and they're not, or working out and they're not. And, to see their competitive nature, that definitely inspires me too. So yeah, that's what they're going to do this summer. So it's not a break. They don't go down the shore and like hang out and eat popcorn. Like they're going at it. And yeah, it's impressive.
All right, that is Dr. Ryan Schreiter joining us here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health. We're going to take a break and check in with Temple's cheerleaders for a special performance. And when we come back, we'll have the head coach of the Temple Owls, CAREY, joining us live momentarily.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay and I'm here with the Temple University cheerleading team. We are so excited to teach you our version of T for Temple U. When you hear a T, hit a T. When you hear a U, hit a U. Then it's gonna go, University, hey, fight, 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 for the cherry and the white, cherry and the white, fight, fight, fight. Now we're gonna do it all together. T.
Welcome back here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health, and I am now joined by the head coach of the Temple Owls, Coach CAREY. Coach, thanks so much for taking the time to chat today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin. Always good to be with you.
Well, I'm looking up at your window here. I'm just glad to be back inside the complex, and I feel like we're getting closer to finally getting to do a face-to-face interview again. I know you're looking forward to that.
Well, I am for certain looking forward to getting face-to-face. I told them never to let you in here before, so I don't know how you got in here, but no, I'm just messing with you.
Security's not as tight as it should be in the off-season.
I guess not. I guess not.
Well, Coach, the last time you and I were talking, it was February, and we were coming off of the signing period, and I know looking optimistically toward the spring season and hopeful that you were going to get a full spring in after obviously not being able to do that in the spring of 2020. Here we are a couple months later, 15 practices in. I mean, that's a victory for this program. Tell us about just what it meant to be out here on this field and having spring ball again.
Well, I think it's just a credit to our players, our staff, our doctors, our training staff, everything for using our protocols effectively and playing football. And unlike last fall where it was start and stop and factors out of our control, quite frankly. And this time that, we really had a good idea what we were doing and how to get it done. And we did. And then we attacked it as a football team and really pleased with the work we got in. And we have a long ways to go. Don't get me wrong, we ain't a finished product yet, but certainly happy with where we're at compared to where we were when we talked in February.
Well, that's gratifying to hear. And yeah, I mean, I want to dig in on that a little bit. Obviously, we don't get to see a lot of what comes out of spring, and this is so important for you as coaches and your team to be able to develop. I mean, just tell us about the progression and kind of what you saw on the field that you liked over the last 4 or 5 weeks here.
Well, the first thing you saw was a lot of rust with the guys that were coming back and a lot of new faces in there. We had not played football since before Thanksgiving and not practiced it. So it was a lot of rust, but the rate of improvement, the rust got knocked off pretty quick. And we started to see the things that we need to see up front, O&D line, skill position wise, development, and just communication and learning how to be on the field again. And so those improvements were very, very good and probably exceeded my expectations a little bit, to be honest with you, with how far we came. But that's because we got a long ways to go. So I was probably undershooting it a little bit and still got a ways to go.
Well, you had a lot of younger guys that probably in an ordinary season would have redshirted for one reason or another. You had a lot of guys that were pressed into duty, right, in the fall. And so I'm wondering how that affected them now coming back into a spring season where you might have just been standing on the sideline for a year in redshirting, but they actually got some game experience. Do you feel like kind of once you got through that rust, that might have put you ahead in some ways of where you might have been in a normal spring?
Yeah, certainly. It played because they got a taste of it, right? And so we played a lot of guys last fall because we had to. We weren't successful with playing. So they got a taste of it and they understood that it was a bad taste in their mouth. So they kind of worked through that in the off season and then really attacked the spring. And we saw that improvement because of that experience. Really, the improvement happened, like I said, faster than I thought it was gonna. And we got a lot of new faces. Listen, we turned over majority of the roster, and that's a positive thing. Like I've always said, I think that we've used the new rules that are in the NCAA to our advantage, and I think we've come out, better for it.
Well, I've got to ask about that, obviously, right? That was such a big theme in our signing day shows. All of the mid-year transfers coming in, it's a great number. It's both sides of the ball, offense, defense, and you've got a lot of guys that have Power 5 experience under their belt, that have been around, that have played high-level collegigiate football. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of go through some of those guys and kind of what you saw out of them.
Well, overall, listen, I think that it's about getting the right guy that fits us. So whether they're Power 5 or 1AA, like a Michael Neese who came to us a year ago and it's a really good player, it's all about the right guy. But overall, in general, yeah, guys that have been maybe at the Power 5 coming to us with great experience has paid huge dividends for us. I think overall the attitude and the way that everybody assimilated together and kind of started creating a team where, like I said, we're not there yet, but how we've attacked this so far has been real good. We've had guys like DeJuan, like AI, even Zach Gill, even though he's bumped and bruised right now, and Lancine Toure, a guy like KP. All these guys are coming. And Ravon Bonner, he was a little bumped and bruised too, and Ahmad Anderson. All the different people that we've had that we brought in here, along with some high school guys like KEYSHAWN Jones and Coleman Jeffcoat that came out, of the high school early. Really seen a ton of good things from them. I've said this a bunch of different ways. I don't think talent's the issue. We got to get them lined up and going the right way a lot. And with their attitude, I'm hopeful we can get there.
Well, I'll get you out of here on this. The next time that we're going to see each other and the next time that our fans will get to see this football team finally at the Link is in the fall. And I know there's a lot to be done between now and then, but coming off of this spring season, looking forward, hopefully if things continue on the trajectory that they are, we'll get to welcome fans back into the Link. People have waited 2 years to see this team in person. I think there's going to be so much excitement from our season ticket holders and our fan base. What do you hope people see when they can come out to South Philly and see your team play this fall?
Well, first thing, we're going to be just excited as the fans to have them there, because we went through this last year with nobody there, and it was certainly a different feeling and not one we really enjoyed in any way. So we're going to be really excited. And just like I've said the whole time, a team that plays hard, gives maximum effort, and makes our fans proud. I have no doubt this group's going to do that. So that's what I hope they see, and that's what we're going to strive to do.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. It is always great catching up. Congratulations on the success that you had this spring. And again, we're really looking forward to that opener in the fall.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you, and go Owls.
Go Owls. All right, that is head coach Rod Carey joining us here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase. We're going to take a break and check in with the Temple Diamond Gems, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up with the Hall of Famer, Paul Palmer.
Now what's my favorite word? Now what's my favorite word?
Temple. Should I really even start? I got that I'm keeping in the dark, 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 dark. Yeah, feel my knees every time the beat drop. Going to the gym, what's the AP? Flying in the water like a jet ski, yeah. I'm tryna play the bestie, yeah. Chop on with this cause so do not test me, yeah. With flag drip going, woo, 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 woo. 7-9 is bigger cool on my wrist. $1 million, I'm a fool with the hits. Hop up in the lemon, drop the roof, so never stop if you wanna be on top, yeah.
Little waist, that baby tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. Diamonds dancing on your neck, better tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. Getting money, get rich, baby, tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. MOB out the game, better
Welcome back here on the Temple Football Spring Showcase presented by Temple Health. A reminder before we go, Temple fans, don't forget to purchase your tickets to see the Owls in action against Boston College, Memphis, UCF Navy, and more this season at Lincoln Financial Field. With flexible season ticket plans and payment plans available, you can lock in your tickets today. Call the Temple Ticket Sales Office at 215-204-8499 or visit owlstix.com for more information. Well, Paul, as we wrap this one up tonight, obviously I think there has been a theme all night, and that is just excitement, looking forward to the fall. I know we kind of joked about it's nice just to be here in person having a conversation. For fans that have waited 2 years to get back to the link, we're really looking forward to having fans again in the building. I mean, it's going to make an enormous amount of difference for this team to be playing this fall at the link, you know, with hopefully as packed a house as we can get it, as the protocols will allow. I mean, you were there for some of those games, calling them on the radio with Harry Donahue this fall. It's just not the same playing in an empty Lincoln Financial Field, and I think that alone is going to bring so much excitement to this coming season.
I think everyone's hungry. I know my guys, my crew of guys, they're already talking about tailgating, and they're always wondering, like, well, what's the tailgating going to be like? You know, everyone's looking forward to being back. It was really strange, really strange. You know, you were in the stadium, and fortunately I got to be in the stadium as well, and it's just, it was pretty eerie. It was almost like a spring practice. It was like a spring practice with no fans. It was really weird. But I think the fans will come out. I think if we put a good product on the field, it's funny, Philly's funny, you gotta kind of hit the ground fast. So if we put a good product on the field and we look good early, we get people, and we get more people, and we get people hanging around. But if we stumble coming out the blocks, man, Philly can be brutal, man. They won't show up. The only people that'll be in the stands will be your mom, your dad, and like your girlfriend. You know what I mean? And other than that, that's it. So hopefully, thank God we did get the spring practice where we got a chance to see what people are, what they really are other than on paper. We have a chance, I'm sure the coaching staff has an idea of who's going to fit where and how they're going to do stuff. So we're fortunate in that respect. And hopefully when camp starts, you know, injuries don't plague us, and we can go ahead and get back to Temple, our style of football, Temple Tough football.
Well, Paul, one thing I know that we're both looking forward to as well is warmer weather. As we get into the fall, we'll get out of this cold spring.
I hope I'm not shivering. I hope I'm not shivering on camera.
The next time we'll be out here, it'll be 100 degrees in August. I mean, that's what football is all about, right?
And I won't complain one bit. I'll love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're really looking forward to having you back at the link this fall. We're looking forward to having the fans back at the link. It's always great talking football with you. Thanks so much for being with us.
I love it, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, that is College Football Hall of Famer Paul Palmer. I'm Kevin Kopp. I want to thank our sponsor, Temple Health. Thank you so much for watching. And again, stay safe, get vaccinated. We'll see you in the fall at Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be a great 2021 season. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.